Greetings from Revealing the Hidden. We wish you a very good, blessed, and beautiful year. With this introduction, we would like to start with today's session. Today, we are going to discuss to deal with our past, and we have Brother Bonifer Endigari to discuss the same. Welcome, Bonnie, to this session. And today we are going to discuss how to deal the past. For this particular session, we will discuss how to deal the past before entering the marriage. And next session we can think about how to deal every day in marriage. So coming to the topic, how to deal before marriage life.
I think it's a good topic to start with because we are starting this
New year.
session and starting this new year with this topic, and it's better for those people who are going to enter into marriage this year
Yes.
to keep their past behind,
Including
and-
you.
including me. And so it's actually a good thing because everybody has past. I mean, unless you have a problem with remembering the past, you will obviously have past. And certain times, I mean, in fact, more than that, past is something that you may be okay with, but your spouse may not be.
Yes.
And that is the tricky part because when you start, being united with somebody else in holy matrimony and being joined by, in that bond, in that special bond, what happens is, on the surface of it, whatever you have gone through, your trauma or your situations or relationships, all the things that you have done, you may not be doing it again, or you may not be continuing to do it, but each of those things keep or leave a scar behind, and that scar is not visible on the outside.
Right.
And that is exactly where marriage comes into the picture, because marriage exposes you from in every
Top to
area.
bottom.
In every area, I think it's not just
Yeah.
from top to bottom. In every area, it's like a 360 degree into 360 degrees
Yes.
into 360 degrees, and it's not just it, and it's not even just one day.
Right.
Every single day, like an onion, one layer keeps coming off, and your scars become visible, and your reactions, which were maybe hidden or contained, starts to erupt.
Yes.
And certain times, your spouse may not have any idea why you are reacting to certain things, because for many years those scars were wrapped up under the carpet and nobody thought of cleaning it. But marriage removes every carpet, and marriage removes all those hidden things, and that is exactly where marriage exposes. And we need to be very, very, very cautious and clear about what happened, because those things help not just us but our better half
Right.
to understand and to deal with us in that way. Because I remember a story of a husband who was telling that my wife did not like the shower nozzle to be kept up. She always wanted to keep it halfway, and he never understood the logic behind it. But then he got so used to it that after she passed away, and this was after like 50 years of their marriage, he was habituated to keep the shower cap down and the nozzle. And then somebody asked that, why do you keep it down? And he narrated the story, and then they were like, but she's no more. And he said, shh, she still is not there physically, but the habit that you have cultivated. Now that is exactly what marriage does. It starts to put a stamp of approval on each other's lives. So it may be wrong, it may be right, but those kind of things starts to become us. And that is very necessary, because the past that happened to us before marriage can and has the power to be redirected into the present and the future that we'll be having with our spouse. So it is very important to deal with it. And I think dealing with the past is as simple as dealing with anything that we deal with. We identify it, we acknowledge it was there, we accept it, and we take action against it. In the sense, we start to set clear boundaries. Because, for example, some people had abuse, so it is difficult for them to have somebody come in close proximity. Now, obviously, marriage gives that proximity, it gives it access, but it also takes away your personal space. So how do you put that personal space, because some people may not be comfortable even in marriage, like having a personal boundary and those kind of things. So certain people may have that issue with having somebody so close up to them, and they may not be able to be comfortable. So how do you draw lines and how do you approach those things is something that is important in marriage.
Nicely said. Your story took me away from the situation what it was, because yes, spouse is there or not there, he is.
Yes.
He still has. That's an important story of marriage. I would like to add to whatever you said as the past of a man or woman is very important.
True.
It can be the trauma, maybe the loved one died, maybe parents or siblings that is very close that they cannot separate. It's moved away from the life, it's a trauma. Someone abused, the public embarrassment
True.
that somewhere it has happened. So whatever is creating a trauma in the heart of a person literally will be what opened up, as you said, is coming in front of the spouse. So whereas you can hide in front of anyone in this world except the spouse.
Yeah.
So especially those who have a hidden life or their own private life really have a difficult time once they get married, because they're not used to another person in their personal space, and it takes time to get adjusted. And I really would appreciate the other person who literally take time and waiting patiently to crack open this person so that he can completely come up. So the important, I would say, the commitment or role of the spouse is make this person comfortable.
Yeah.
So that whatever is the pain, I am not in an opinion that everything you need to share. Yes, whatever we can share, it's good to share. But especially physical intimacy, what has happened in the previous life or a love affair, it's you can tell in the peripheral lines. It's better avoid completely disclosing, because we really don't know the mental maturity of the other person. They seem to be very mature on our first look or first 2 days, but third day onwards their color changes. So that when they may say it's okay, it's fine, but when a chaos happens,
those
things will come out. And at that time we really will surprise, oh my god, why did I say, oh why did I do. I've seen so many family life has really went in a different way after revealing the complete past. And I've seen divorce happened because of previous relationships, and it went into very bad broken marriage. From this I came to a conclusion to all the people that are getting married: please don't disclose completely. And you need to tell, yes, you need to be open, we are going to start a new life, but there should be limits. The only person in this world can forgive and forget what you've done is only God.
Yes.
Including you cannot forget some of the mistake what you've done in your life. Maybe some repetitive mistake, or you cannot forget. You are accusing yourself because there is something I cannot accept what Sindhu is doing. So these things you need to be very mindful when you're revealing the past to your spouse. Anything else to be addressed, Moni?
I think yes. In fact, apart from creating a comfort zone, let us also realize that not every time would you have a spouse who may understand you, as you said.
Right.
So it could obviously be there that two people who on the surface are showing that they are stable and complete are actually broken within, and they come together in marriage, and neither of the two know how broken the other is. So it's not always the responsibility of the spouse to understand your brokenness, because even that person is understanding and revealing his or her brokenness. So everybody in that sense is broken to an extent where and what do we do with broken pieces? We build it up again, but then we take much more care for it, because once the crack leaves a line, and the next break that happens comes on that fault line, comes on that crack. So we need to take much more care, and that care is something that marriage provides. So apart from comfort zone and building that comfort space is, I think, care. And the third thing, I think, is where whatever happened in the past has to stay in the past, but the way to keep that in the past is by not letting that past get up in the present, because both the husband and the wife, and it's not just the husband and the wife. I think when we start looking at the marriage, it's also about the other family members who are involved, because some people have a past that is exposed to everybody.
Yes.
And dealing with the past is not just between the husband and the wife, but it's also between the two families, that you keep the past as the past. And the way to do that is to not look at the past by influencing or impacting, but by giving you a training to continue to have a better future, and to not let the mistakes in the past be repeated in any other form in the present. But for that, I think one way to have that clarity in that, which is my third point, is to have the clarity in how you divide and keep the past behind, is to maybe have a third person come in and give you that perspective, or give the perspective to the family. Because many times the past becomes a method to do name calling. Oh, you were like this, what are you telling me? Oh, you were like that. Oh, you came from this area, you came from that culture, background, family, your father, your mother, this, that. And what happens is, some of the things you were not even responsible for. Some of the aspects of your life you may not be able to take ownership of. They were beyond your control. But the way to keep those things behind is to be very clear that happened in the past, that will not be repeated in the present, and it cannot affect my future. So that clarity has to be brought in, especially maybe a spiritual leader or a pastor or a mentor or a counselor needs to get that between the family and the two members in the marriage. Because if that clarity and if that clear line and boundary has not been drawn, the people in the marriage may not be able to know where the past is and where the past should be left.
Right.
Because it has the ability to keep affecting the present. Some trigger here and there, and we tend to go back in our past and we tend to think, oh, this was like this was like that. But we need to take that conscious decision to keep the past in the past.
Nicely explained. Wonder how we can deal with our past before entering into marriage.
I think these points would suffice in the sense that you start loving and caring yourself. Because if the past is beautiful, you would obviously love it. But if the past is traumatic and has abuse or has some things where undesirable aspects of it, then you need to start caring for yourself. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you need to be able to come out of it in a way where you need to know that who you are. So your identity, your calling in life needs to be very clear cut. The third thing, I think, is to be able to know about how you are able to impact or create or be an impact in the community, in the city, in the culture that you are around. Because what happens is, the past will obviously tend to negate, push you down, and try to remove you from the ability that you have been given or the calling that you have on your life. But when you start looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing what your potential is, you get that power to leave the past behind. And one of the ways to do that is to activate what you are right now. Your past may have put you down, your past may have abused you, your past may have weakened you, but that weakness will now become a weapon for you to stand strong and help others who are still in that, maybe that pit, or who are still struggling through those areas. Maybe it could be an addiction, or it could be a trauma that you have gone through and you have come out of it powerfully. So maybe your calling could be to help other people come out of it and become stronger. Just like how you gain strength, you start helping other people gain that strength. So I think in that community bonding, that calling, when you start using that calling, that is one of the sure way to strengthen your inner ability in your calling, and to obviously help other people to come out of it. So I think when you start helping people come out of it, you automatically start gaining resistance over your past, and your past now no longer becomes something that was that would weaken you, but it becomes something that empowers you to help other people come out of things.
Nicely said, Bonnie. To add on, I would like to say, when you are going to start a new phase, marriage is a phase like having a child, so we are going to change. So what I've realized is, our before marriage and after marriage is black and white difference. It is going to be completely turned around. Even if you are good bad, your spouse will be of opposite character, and you're going to an adjustment what you're going to have, whereas your spouse is not good for anything. You're called to hold his
Hold
hand.
on.
So whatever good experience you got before marriage, it is to help him.
True.
No, you had gone through a very bad past. This is your base to pull
yourself
yourself
up.
up, that become a platform for you to speak on.
True.
So this way, actually, we should not go down. We should strengthen ourselves, looking at our pain, what we had
Yes.
gone through, and don't abuse your past.
Yes.
Understand that is your stepping stone for what you are here. So that's why you are reached here. Then now the important role of prayer comes here. Whereas it's not easy to get out of the trauma. I would say the trauma is like wounds which is like bleeding in our heart all the time. Anyone touch it, we will cry.
Yes.
So somewhere the tears will roll down because it is not healed yet. So this is the area where prayer really works so that we come out of it. Then we become a useful weapon for someone else who may about to go is already going through this particular
True.
scenario. So I would think this way we are able to deal our past and share minimum to your spouse and try to restart a life, because the husband and wife both need to start from the scratch.
Yes.
How much you're rich, how much you're poor, how much you're educated, how much you're mature, the opposite person is with you, you need to start your life.
True.
So let's start together for a better future.
Yes.
I think we have spoken enough for how to deal the past. We are coming next week with the next session, that is how to forgive our spouse in our daily basis. Till we meet next time, stay happy and stay safe. Thank you.